Hi, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We are continuing Avatar The Last Airbender. This is Book 3, Chapter 9, titled Nightmares and Daydreams. Are we continuing in this horror vein that we got from the last episode with, the Puppet Master, or what's going on here? I don't know. What do you think when you hear daydreams and nightmares? I know I switched them around, but yeah.
Well, I can't help but think of like Zuko and Aang and
Hmm?
how they're very different, and I can.
Yeah, sometimes when they've been having, we've had these nightmares or daydreams or just dreams in general before from both Zuko and Aang, where it's sort of like a mirror thing, and like they've done that a lot of times. So yeah, maybe it's some of that we're getting into again. But either way, we're just excited to continue this journey. Do you have anything you want to get into before we start the episode?
Yeah. I know I always say something like this, but I have done something with my like this chest plate, like my chest plate. Is it that
Chest bone?
chest bone? Yeah.
People might think you have like a metal plate in your chest or something.
Yeah, no, yeah, but I've done something with my chest bone and it hurts a lot, and especially if I breathe in deep or, yeah, just exist. And yeah, so if I grab my chest bone or if I make weird facial expressions that seems out of sync with something, it's probably just because I can feel my chest bone a lot.
Yeah. So it's a pain thing, and
Yeah,
yeah, as you said, like you do. It's been a while since
it's been a
since
while.
since we've had
Yeah.
one of these. Hey, I'm injured at the end or at the start of the reaction.
Well, my body is back at killing me again, so
Yeah, it's plotting against you,
yeah.
the damn thing.
Yeah.
Either way, let's jump into the episode. And you can, of course, always check out our full length reactions where you can sync up the footage with your own copy of the episode. We also have early reactions for Avatar where we are 2 weeks ahead. It's all over on Patreon, and the link is down in the description below. Let's go. There we go. Nightmares and daydreams. It was, yeah, pretty much just Aang having a lot of nightmares and daydreams and just losing it completely, like days before the invasion. But luckily, he was able to get some sleep towards the end. And yeah, I guess there was some mirror stuff going on between Aang and Zuko, but the Zuko stuff was, more like sober in a way. Like there wasn't a lot of weird dreams and like weird characters and stuff like that going on as it was the case with Aang. But he was still, dealing with some stuff. And this meeting that he like, yeah, let's just start with the Suko stuff because that was like what we got the least off in this episode, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, he was not invited to the meeting, but then later on, after he like sort of complained about it, and especially to Asula, he then got an invite to the meeting, or like those two guys, they got there and they told him that yeah, everybody's ready at the meeting, but you're not there. They're not going to start without you, and he even got to sit at his father's like right side, and he was just being the perfect prince during the meeting, but it did not feel like him. He's still struggling with a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's just business as usual, kind of with Zuko. But it's yeah, he's getting everything that he thought he wanted, and now he's even getting. It seems like the admiration of his father. Like he's getting to be his father's right hand, and he's in the position that he wanted to be in, but it still feels wrong. He's still not happy.
It's not him.
Hmm.
And I think the way that this and how the whole thing mirrors somewhat very lightly mirrors Aang is this whole nightmare and daydream thing.
Hmm.
Where it's like he has been daydreaming about this for so long now.
Hmm.
Zuko has been daydreaming for this for so long. It's been such a huge part of him wanting to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And finally when he get there, is it more of a nightmare actually?
Yeah.
Is it yeah, is it like he suddenly he has to compromise his own identity and his own integrity as a person
Mm.
just to become this person that he always thought he wanted to be, and
Hmm.
then finding out, and of course we knew all along that of course he when he got there, if he got there, this was not what he wanted to, because he's
Mm.
just being an illusion of someone who is him, but
Mm.
it's not really him. And yeah, it was quite the revelation for him, I think. Even though it felt, as you say, almost felt kind of sober or somber. In a whole, like it was more calm and relaxed in a way.
Mm.
But I still think this was a huge revelation for him, in the build up to him
Yeah, I think
realizing.
so too, because we haven't really been spending time with Zuko since the beach episode where he had that big revelation where he was like, it's on me. I'm mad at myself. So he's gone through that and he's probably still dealing with that revelation and now getting to the point where, like, for example, this whole thing about going to a war meeting with his father. Last time he did that, something sort of happened. He spoke out of turn, and it resulted in him getting the scar and his father punishing him. So there's been, this going to a war meeting, like what's like that's the root of his insecurities, or a lot of his insecurities about his father happened because of a war meeting. So and now he finally went to one, and it went the way that he thought he wanted it to. But yeah, as we keep on saying, it's just it wasn't him. It did not make him happy. It was not ultimately, the sort of life that he feels good about.
And I think this is where everything that Iroh taught him
Mm.
has come into play. And the way that Iroh has always nurtured the good side of him, and always nurtured, like, you should be who you want to be. You should think about not what your father wants you to be,
Mm.
not the person that your father wants you to be. You
Yeah.
should focus on yourself and what makes you happy. And I think especially we saw him very briefly with the whole crown prince thingy that he got from Iroh
Mm.
in
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh
Fire
yeah,
Island Avatar.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course. We saw him in that one. Yeah.
and I think that still kind of struck a chord with him. And even though we don't see him a lot, I think these small check-ins with him are
Mm.
definitely telling about the story and the revelations and all the things that he's battling throughout this. Even though it just feels like it's kind of fading in the background a bit, I
Mm.
still think it's very much going on. It's just downplayed a little bit right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're just showing us that yes, he's still like struggling a lot with this stuff and thinking about his place in all of this, and what he wants as a person. He's getting there more and more, and as you're saying, like Iroh's teachings, like they're showing, so that when the turn eventually happens, and we're still rooting for that to happen, the whole redemption arc sort of deal. Like when that happens, it will then make more sense because we've been like seeing this like progressively happening with him, that he's becoming more and more or he's realizing that he's not the person that he wants to be. So when he gets that chance to become the person that he wants to be, then hopefully he's going to take it this time.
And I just wanted very quickly to talk, or just mention that I think May.
Hmm?
I think she's actually being super nice to him. Like she's listening to him and
Yeah.
asking how things went, and he actually confides in her and trusts her, and they actually seem somewhat happy for each other. And I can't, like, holy, what the happened?
Yeah, I think maybe that's also part of the big revelations they had on the beach, and because she also was talking about like why she is the way that she is, but in this one she was being, as you said, real nice to him, and they were relaxing together, and she was showing some sort of joy for life. Like she wanted a fruit tart, and she wanted to go right around in that thing around the town, and just she wanted to do stuff and not just hate on the world, which is
Mm.
that's the version of May that we've seen. Like most of the time it's just her hating on everyone and everything. But yeah, she was being real nice and supportive of Zuko in this one. So at least he has that, and I'm actually, yeah, that was nice to see. But let's touch on all the stuff that went on with Aang and his weird ass fucking nightmares and daydreams. The nightmares that were mostly focused on, the Fire Lord. And each time he tried to go to sleep, he had sort of the same dream where he was, bursting through the door, and he was looking sort of different each time. Like the first time, that was definitely a Dragon Ball Z kind of look. Not that I know I know it exists, and I've seen some of the characters, but I haven't seen the show itself. So I don't know how many references they threw in there, and then he looked kind of different in the next one. I don't know if it was still a Dragon Ball thing or.
I don't think so.
But yeah, this thing about you're not wearing pants and you have to do the math test, and I think those sorts of nightmares, like we're all kind of familiar with. The whole thing about being unprepared. I think many people
for something big like an exam or something huge.
Exactly, and one thing that's very common when it comes to nightmares and not being prepared is this showing up naked or without clothes type of thing. Like you've heard, like, I don't know if you guys have heard about it or if you've had those sort of nightmares yourself, but I've experienced like nightmares or dreams that kind of like that, where you're running around without clothes and it's embarrassing and everyone is looking and you're not ready for something you should be ready for. And then the math test, that's not being ready for a test at school. I think many children, they know about that feeling. This is still a show that is made primarily for children, so there's having that thing in there, so most children can go, oh yeah, I recognize that feeling. Holy shit, that's not nice.
But it was like in these nightmares, it was like every time he thought he came prepared, so I got my pants this time, and then he said, but you're not ready for the math test. So it was basically like every time he thought he had that situation under control, the Fire Lord just threw a new one at him,
Yeah. Still, like, you're not ready for this invasion, and it all stems, of course, from him feeling like he's not ready or he hasn't trained enough, and feeling pressured by the fact that the invasion is happening in a couple of days, or like we started with 4 days and then now we're only a day away from the invasion, which, whew, holy shit, that means we're getting into that in the next episode. Looking so much forward to that, by the way. But he definitely didn't feel like he was ready until the last few minutes there, where Katara and Sokka and Toph, they finally, had the right approach, where they tried to encourage him and tell him that you are ready. Like, we've been with you all of this time. This is what you have been training for, but we know that you're ready because we see you and we see what you've gone through, and we've been there with you all the way. So you are ready. And he kind of took that to heart, and then the nightmare turned to, kind of like I'm prepared, but the Fire Lord, he's not wearing pants, so he's not prepared anymore. And then he could get some sleep. So why they didn't use that approach beforehand, I'm not quite sure, because that would have been, my first instinct. If I was, trying to console Aang, I would be like, dude, you are ready. Like, you can't get any more ready than what you are right now. Like a few extra days or sleepless nights where you're running around and trying to train on an island, that's not going to help you any further. So just prepare yourself mentally instead, maybe. Or I don't know. Sorry, I can see you have something to say about it.
But they might not know if what's his point of view, like, or what he's going through. So they might not know that encouragement is the way, because they think that he's ready. And if they always think that or have been thinking that he was ready all along, and it's just like, well, go to sleep. And he didn't feel ready himself, you know what I mean? So he didn't say, hey, I'm not ready.
No,
but he just said, I have to train, and like, so they might not know exactly where he is, so they're just trying, like,
but maybe it's just me personally who would have used that tactic like a little bit earlier, but either way, they tried a bunch of stuff, like yoga and therapy with Sokka and the beard, like, and I don't know if Sokka was the best person for doing that, screaming into a pillow. Like a lot of fun stuff. Like they definitely had it, like the people making this and animating it and doing, like, they had a lot of fun with this episode.
Yeah.
Especially the stuff with Momo and Appa, and like with the voices and the fighting, and then the Guru came in and was acting weird as well, and it was just, yeah, it got real fucking strange. So yeah, but yeah, it makes sense that Aang was kind of freaking out if that was the sort of stuff that he was seeing and envisioning. But it does make me a little bit nervous for, you know, the actual invasion that's coming up very, very, very soon. Is he ready though? Because yeah, the eclipse is gonna be there, so can't do any fire bending either way.
But he's not supposed to fight the Fire Lord yet, right?
No, that's what they're doing now. The eclipse is happening in a day. That's when the invasion happens, and that's when they're going to strike at the heart. So that's why he was training for the Fire Lord. Is, you know, that's, of course, like, we know because we're only like halfway through the season. So it's not gonna end during this invasion. Something's gonna go wrong, obviously. Or maybe they are going to defeat him and then something else is going to happen. Like, we don't know yet. But yeah, the eclipse, that's in one day. So yeah, as I just said, is he ready though? Can he defeat the Fire Lord? Is he there mentally and physically and everything?
But I think this episode really kind of touched on something that, oh, it's such a horrible thing, but he's still just a kid. Like, he's what, 12 or something? 14? And he's supposed to fight a grown-ass man. He's supposed to fight the, as Sokka so very brutally, honestly said, like, the baddest man in the whole world.
Yeah.
And Aang is still a kid
who has to save the world.
Yeah,
fuck the pressure.
Such an immense responsibility, and of course that is haunting him, and has been haunting him for 100 years, and he's so afraid of failure. Of course, it makes sense. So I totally get that part of it, and it's just, it just struck me once again, like, how horrible of a situation that Aang is in, and how much of a immense pressure he's going through.
Yeah, you get the nightmares, and you get why he's feeling the way that he is, and why he's kind of freaking out. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But we'll see in the next one if he's ready or not, what's going to happen, how the whole eclipse thing is going to go down. And we know that as soon as it does happen, you know, the eclipse, they only have 8 minutes to defeat the Fire Nation, which, whew, that's, yeah, man, they really have to plan this thing down to every little, like, yeah, like every little detail they have to plan out and have everything ready. They're meeting with the fleet, you know, they got there like 4 days early compared to the rest of the invasion force. So yeah, it's not just gonna be the gang who's going to invade, but yeah.
And we will, by the way, before you start asking us, we will be watching the next one and episode 11 back to back.
Yeah.
So don't...
Yeah. We'll be watching them back to back, and we're also planning on releasing them simultaneously because it is a part 1 and a part 2. So yeah, it just makes sense. But that's going to do it for this reaction and review of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Book 3, Chapter 9, titled Nightmares and Daydreams. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you very soon. Bye.
Bye.